Hey guys, what's up? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review where today we're taking a look at this brand new Japanese Spider-Man Marvel Legends figure. I am so excited for this figure. As soon as they announced this thing, I knew I needed to add it to the collection. I talk about quite a lot in my Toy Biz figure videos how I feel like they gave us such a range of unique looking Spider-Man figures. And I just feel like Hasbro haven't really done the same in the past. Most of the figures they give us are upgrades on the last release, but they always kind of have the same sort of vibe to them, the same overall look to them. And I wanted something a bit different, and thankfully Hasbro this year are giving us a lot of different looks to Spider-Man. We're getting that animated series Spidey, we got the Amazing Fantasy 15 Spider-Man, and now here we get the Japanese Spider-Man, and I think this looks pretty cool. I definitely want to take a closer look at him on the channel, but before we do, let me know down in the comments section below what you guys think of the Japanese Spider-Man show. I've only seen a couple of episodes a couple years ago. I thought it was fun, I thought it was really cool, but recently I watched the documentary on Disney Plus and it was fantastic. It really gave a great insight into Japanese Spider-Man as a whole, and I can't recommend it enough. If you've not seen it, go watch it. I think it's part of a documentary series, but yeah, you'll find it, Japanese Spider-Man, and yeah, it's fantastic. Definitely made me even more excited to pick this figure up. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below of this figure and the show. While you're down there, if you could do me a massive favour, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And let's not wait any longer, let's take a closer look at Japanese Spidey. First up, let's take a closer look at the box that he comes in. Up top we get Marvel Legends Series 60th Anniversary Spider-Man logo up top with some webbing in the background. We've got these on all the 60th Anniversary Spider-Man figures so far. Image of Spidey up in the top right. Then we get some, I'm presuming this is Japanese. Also presuming this is Japanese, let me know what this says down in the comment section because I have no idea. I'm guessing Spider-Man. It says Spider-Man here. And then we get a cool product image, definitely going to have to replicate this pose, some webbing in the background and a really cool image of Spidey in the background as well. Then we get another product image in a more neutral stance, really cool image of Japanese Spidey here, more comic like, great pose. And we don't get these hands with the figure. Like, once again, Hasbro have put a really cool image here that we can't even replicate because we don't get these hands, but I'll talk about that more later on. Another image of the product, great background image. I actually really like the art on this box. And then here's all the accessories we get. No more figure reveals in the wave, anything like that. A load of mumbo jumbo. Let's take a closer look at the figure. And so here is our figure out of the box, and let's do what we always do and take a closer look at the accessories that this guy comes with. We'll start with the alternative hands because, as I just mentioned, these are the only alternative hands that we actually get with this piece, and for a £30 figure I want something more than this. We'll get to the web accessories, but yeah, we get some clobbering time hands and that's it. Some karate chop hands would be really appreciated, maybe an alternative head, I don't know, but one pair of alternate hands just doesn't really cut it. They do look good, the paint looks solid, decent sculpt. These were the first things I took out the box. I think it will translate on camera, but these honestly look kind of orange. The whole red that they've used on the figure gives a kind of orange feel to it, and I think we'll see that when we compare this guy later on to some other Spidey figures. I don't mind it, I think it looks alright, I do like the colours they've used, but it does look slightly orange. And then we get these two web accessories, which honestly, what's the point? Like, they don't do anything, you can't really like pose them with the figure at all, like it's just some web splats. Nice sculpt, you know, it's got this white opaque paint to it. I don't know, man, like, thanks, I guess. Give us some better web accessories. Honestly, Hasbro's web accessories suck. They've gave us one web splat, they gave us a second web splat, which is just slightly smaller, very similar, and it just doesn't really serve a purpose. This one I like more than the ones they've gave us in the past. I do prefer the white opaque paint they've used. I like the sculpt. I like the wee twirly bit at the end. I hate this. The way they use this in the pictures, they always have their figure holding it. I think it looks absolutely ridiculous. Someone in my comment section said it works better as like a handle to put around an object, and then you'd have Spidey holding this. That works. That actually makes a lot of sense. Hasbro just don't market it as that. I think the web accessories are lame. Once again, this is a 30 quid figure. Give us something similar to the Revoltech, similar to the Mayfix, something that can port onto his wrist, give a web shooting effect. Maybe this isn't the best figure to do that with. Of course, he's got his wee Spidey web shooter thing here that shot ropes in the show. But come on, just in general with our Spider-Man figures, we need better web accessories from Hasbro, especially when they're charging much more money like this figure here. This just doesn't cut it. I like this. I even like these. They just don't serve any purpose. Like, we could be getting something a lot better. But then we get the figure itself, and I really like this thing. I've seen this thing get quite a bit of hate, but I'm vibing to it. There are a couple things I don't like, especially, you know, what I've just said, but the figure itself, I'm vibing with. I really like this head sculpt. I really like the sculpted lenses. I think they look really nice. The web pattern's pretty cool. The web pattern here is intentionally mismatched. That's meant to, you know, pay homage to the show. The suit apparently was like this. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it translates that well into this figure form here. It does look like a QC issue, and I feel like someone should have said, actually, this kind of looks a bit messy. I get that it's paying homage, I think that is cool, but yeah, I don't know if it translates as well as they thought it would. What I do really like about this costume is all the wee wrinkles and things on it that we will see throughout. Like at the wrist area here, there's a wee wrinkle up in the legs, down in the feet area. I think that looks awesome, and it definitely reflects the vibe of the suit in the show. And the reason that I do really like this look to Japanese Spider-Man is because in the movies, like the Raimi trilogy, the Amazing Spider-Man, when they make their Spider-Man suits, they make like the best suits anyone's ever made in the world. Like proper full-on movie production quality suits, and I just don't get the vibe that Peter Parker is that good at sewing, that good at costume making. Like, if he is, why is he not going into that industry? He's always complaining about making money, but can make the best suits known to man. And if I got Spider-Man powers, you know, I'm not going to be able to make a fantastic movie standard suit that they have in those movies. I'm going to be more like Japanese Spider-Man here and get something that looks like it's straight out of the Halloween store. And I love it. I love this vibe, and I do think Hasbro's done a good job at reflecting that in this figure with all the wrinkles throughout the sculpt here. I do really like the sculpt. I really like the head sculpt, as I spoke about the lenses. See the back here. Some more wrinkles down at the bottom. The only problem I seem to have QC wise, because as we know, Marvel Legends is getting slated at the moment for all their QC issues, is just a bit of messy webbing here at the back, but really not a big deal. We do get this big port on the back, but that is a nice back logo. Apart from the port, man, like I wish they just covered that up for this piece. It does look a bit messy here. Whatever. Get the arms, and of course this is pinless. Okay, another gripe, we get the web shooter thing here. This opens up in the movie. I do believe the Bandai figure as well. This thing opens up. It does look really nice. We can see it says Spider-Man here, yellow line around it. Got the buttons and everything. Yeah, it's really cool. But just make it open up, you know. Would that have been so hard to do? We're paying £30. More than £30, by the way. We're paying more than £30. Just make this thing open up, you know, take this figure to the next level. But Hasbro, I guess we're just a wee bit lazy here. Really nice front logo, I do really like that. I do really like the solid webs through here. The arm over here, pinless again. You can just see the elbow here is slightly miscolored compared to the rest of the arm, but no biggie. Get the legs, and then we get the feet. I do really like the soles of the feet, how they've actually went and coloured them. I wouldn't be surprised if Hasbro just left them, but you know, reflects the show. I really like the look of that. And I think that's it on the figure. Let's compare this guy to some other Spideys that we've gotten recently. And here we have our 60th anniversary Japanese Spidey next to the 60th anniversary Amazing Fantasy 15 Spider-Man and the Renew Your Vows 2-pack Spider-Man with the Ben Reilly retro-carded head sculpt. I do just prefer this head sculpt to the one that they gave us, and I prefer the Renew Your Vows head sculpt on that Ben Reilly Spidey, so I think that's probably going to be a permanent swap for me. As I mentioned earlier on, the red they've used for this figure honestly looks orange, especially compared to these two. Once again, I don't know, I was going to say I don't really mind it, but when you compare them to these two, it does stand out like a sore thumb. When you take them away, yeah, I guess you don't notice it as much, maybe now that I pointed it out, but as a single piece, it's fine next to the other Spider-Mans. Yeah, that looks weird. The other thing I haven't touched on yet is the articulation, and I will look at the articulation after some comparisons. I like the sculpt they've used. As I mentioned, I really like the wrinkles all over it. I think it does well to reflect Japanese Spider-Man, more so than these two sculpts would. But the posability just isn't there. You're not going to get this Spidey into the same poses that these two can, and that is disappointing because everyone's raving about the posability of these two. We got toe articulation with this guy. The poses you can get the Amazing Fantasy 15 in is like no other Spidey Marvel Legends have given us before, and then they give us a Spider-Man on this un-Spider-Man mode. Like, yeah, it is disappointing, but once again, I'm just glad that we've gotten this different, unique character from Hasbro, this different version of Spider-Man. Of course, they've gave us this unique Amazing Fantasy 15. We're going to get the Amazing Friends Spidey, we're getting the animated series Spider-Man, and I'm really happy with that because I was getting a bit bored with the generic looking Spider-Man figures from Hasbro, and this Japanese Spidey is just, it's relieving. It's something different that I'm happy to add to the collection, and you know, I'm vibing with them, definitely. And then for a villain comparison, we have our Japanese Spidey next to the retro carded Sandman and the 60th anniversary retro carded Lizard. And yeah, I do like how these guys compare to one another. Great colours, and I really like the height these guys are standing at. There is obviously things that I don't like about this figure, but I think for the most part I'm a big fan, and as I mentioned, this guy has been getting a lot of hate, and I think that's because Bandai SH Figuarts released a Japanese Spider-Man figure, which unfortunately I don't own. I wish I did, but he is a lot of money. He's around £120 now. I think he probably would have retailed for around 80. And that's a lot of money for a figure. I don't tend to spend that much money on figures at all, so that figure just isn't really in my price range, and I'm really happy to get this, well, £30 Spider-Man. That's a lot of money as well. But when you compare those two figures, yeah, like the Bandai definitely blows it out of the water. I think the Bandai does look a lot better, comes with a lot more accessories, but of course you are paying for it. And once again, I think that is why this figure's gotten a lot of hate, because when you compare those two, this guy looks like the worst knockoff known to man. But as a separate figure, as an individual figure that is a lot cheaper than that SH Figuarts, I do think the hate is a little undeserving. Once again, I've expressed my issues with this figure, and I will look at the articulation as well. But in the whole, I think it's really cool. So to run over all the articulation, you can get the head looking about that far up, which isn't too bad. Move it about that far down, and yeah, that's pretty good. Left and right, and it will pivot around. One thing I will say about this figure is when I took it out of the box, the joints were crazy stiff, like the most stiff joints I've ever came across. I had to play around with them a wee bit. Probably worth putting him in a hot water bath though, like it was scary stiff to the point where I thought I was going to break the thing. Let's hope that doesn't happen here because he still is pretty stiff. You can get the arm moving about that far up. You can move it round at the bicep there. Double jointed elbow, and oh my god, this is crazy stiff. That is double jointed. I'm not going to try and force it on camera just now. There we go, got the double joint. Move it backwards and forwards at the wrist, rotate that round as well. Same articulation in this arm here. You can get him crunching about that far forward and about that far back. You can move him around at the waist here, get the leg kicking about that far forward, that far back, kick out that much out the way. Upper thigh cut, double jointed knees, which were the really stiff joints, but there you go, got the double joint. Move the foot backwards and forwards, and that will pivot round as well. So yeah, articulation is alright. I think some folk would probably argue that that's all the articulation you would need with a Japanese Spider-Man. But once again, just comparing it to the posability of some of the recent Spidey figures that we've been given, it just doesn't cut it for me. I really wish I could get this guy into a lot more poses. The articulation just isn't great for a Spider-Man. It's not the worst either, and as I mentioned, I do like the sculpt for this character. So yeah, I don't know, swings and roundabouts maybe. And so there we have it for our Japanese Spider-Man from Hasbro. And I really like this figure, I just don't think it feels like a £33 figure. I think it starts with the web accessories. They've given us 3 and 2 are basically completely useless. I don't know, I look at Mafex and Revoltech, they give us some really good Spidey web accessories. Hasbro have never really given us any good purposeful web accessories, and I feel like they're capable of it, and that's something they definitely need to give us in the future. Ones that port around the wrist, or even port it into the web shooting spot like the Revoltech does. I don't know, just definitely something I want to see from Hasbro, because I know that they could give us some dynamite web accessories. Then you have the colour of this thing. I wasn't too bothered at the beginning, but yeah, when you compare this guy to some other Spider-Man figures, this is definitely more orange looking than red. When you compare him to that SH Figuarts, which I don't really want to do because it is a lot more expensive, but at the same time that is the main figure you're going to compare this guy with because it's the only other Japanese Spider-Man figure out there. It does just look a lot better, and you know, it is a different shade of red. There's a lot of things different with it. I mean, that's then going to the posability of this guy. As I mentioned, I do really like the sculpt they've used. I really like the wrinkles in the costume and everything, but I do wish we could have got this guy into a few more poses. I do wish we got some different hands with him. Yeah, I'm sounding really negative here. I do really like this figure. I think it does look like a decent Japanese Spider-Man. I mean, there's no doubt who this character is when you see him on the shelf. I'm going to have a lot of fun with them. As I mentioned, I'm really glad Hasbro are giving us these more obscure Spider-Man figures. Maybe not obscure, but like animated series. We got our first appearance Spidey, now we've got Japanese. It's not the same, you know, pizza Spidey, renew your vows. Retro, I think a wee bit different looking, but they all kind of look very plain when it comes to Spider-Man. Toy Biz gave us unique artist depictions of the character. There was such a range to those figures, and now Hasbro are giving us more of a range, and I love that. Yeah, I think this figure, I don't think it's a must-have. I think if you like the kind of lore of Japanese Spider-Man, definitely pick it up. If you want something a bit different, definitely pick it up. Just don't really have high expectations. I don't know, I'm going to stop going on. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below, because I've had a lot to say. Let me know what you guys think. While you're down there, if you could do me a massive favour, as always, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'll leave the link to my Instagram in the description below, where I'll definitely be posting a lot of pictures of this guy up on there, so feel free to check that out. out. Feel free to hop on over to the channel page. There are plenty of other Spider-Man videos up on there, as well as just loads of other figures. It would mean a lot if you could check that out. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video right here, and as always, I'll catch yous on the flip-flop later. Cheers.